Okay, so anyhow, last night was up live with Steve and When in Doubt and Mike the Mgtow Monk. I was actually happy to be able to talk with Mike for the first time yesterday night. And I'm going to say this straight up, neither Mike nor When in Doubt are TFLers. For anybody that thinks they are, they're not. Okay, neither one of them two men are TFLers. I found new respect for Mike, the Mgtow Monk, and Mgtow. I think last night's live stream with Steve did a lot of justice for a lot of people. I think by the end of it, with all the controversy that took place, and of course, I think by the end of it, it did a lot of good. I really do. I see a break in the ice for the first time in years with the division and the manosphere, and that took place last night. And why do I say that? Because, regardless of what's been said about Mgtow, Mgtow was the answer and always has been the answer, okay, to the division and to the war on the genders. Mgtow is the answer. Okay, and I've said that over and over. I just didn't think enough men took it seriously. But I think that can change. I see a break in the ice last night, so I definitely appreciate the guest that Steve had up there last night with myself. Okay, and as far as the coughing in the background, I can understand people, but at the same time, we had some people in there that just, what can I say? Coughing in the background irritated them, and of course they thought it was just deliberately being done, and it was a fake cough, and there was nothing fake about it, okay? And it wasn't deliberately being done. But I take tendency of blowing people like that off because they don't know. They make assumptions and they open their mouth up with their assumptions. Okay, but just the same, I think last night's live stream was needed. And we've been waiting for an opportunity for a long time to try to get people to, well, to get the manosphere to come together. Now, of course, the manosphere hasn't come together yet, but I think we made a dent, we made a crack in the ice last night. By the time the live stream had started and by the time it ended, I do see a crack in the ice, and hearing what I heard last night from Mike the Mgtow Monk and from When in Doubt, and just thinking about it and even talking with Steve today on the phone, I've come to the conclusion that I think it's a good idea. I'm not going to shoot down anybody's idea on that show when it come to Project Mayhem. Okay? I don't care what other people think, because I'll tell you this right now. There's nobody else really doing anything in the manosphere to try to bring the men together. I've preached it, I've said it, I've wanted it, Steve wants it. And there's nobody else doing anything. But now we have Mike the Mgtow Monk and When in Doubt. So regardless of what you think about his Project Mayhem, they mean well. Will they get it off the ground? I don't know. I'm not going to be the one to say they won't. I'm not going to say they will. But these two men mean well. They really do. And their idea, if it was to work out, would bring men together. And if it don't, I think we should still bring men together. But we need to take action and we need to start working together. And I agree with them on that. Because the common denominator in the manosphere, and I don't care what label you're giving yourself, is we all are having the same issues. Okay? Overall. You know, and it was nice to hear Mike acknowledge TFL, that he sees it. And to know that when in doubt knows it's real, that this is not, it's never been unreal. It's always been real. It's just people turn their back to it and denied it for year after year after year. And it just keeps got to keep growing and getting bigger and bigger before they finally open their eyes and looked. Which is sad, but I was so happy to hear these two men acknowledging it, just like with Mgtow. It's real. Okay? Just like TFL is real and Incel is nothing more than TFL when you really think about it. Okay? Unable to get a woman. And to me, it's not about sex, but it's never been about sex for two TFLers. It's been about meeting their best friend, their companion, their mate. That's what it's been about, okay? And so, you know, a lot of people, they just fail to see that because our society's been over sexualized. I'm not shooting down sex. I don't think there's anything wrong with sex. It's just been taken from the back of the list to the front of the list, which shouldn't have happened. And society's been over sexualized. Okay, and people are trying to build relationships on quicksand or on the side of a steep mountain and can't figure out why it don't work. But to bring the manosphere together is important, and I'm going to start supporting Mgtow. And as far as TFLers, you know, you've heard us both say, Steve and myself have both mentioned that the majority of Mgtow were TFLers in denial. And that came from knowing that the majority of Mgtow was men going their own way. I'm going to tell you why this statement was made. And when we said the numbers of true Mgtows were really low, I'm going to tell you why. Because the understanding of men going their own way from a woman was based on men that were in long-term relationships with women, where the family court system and the women have taken them to the cleaners and messed them over. Okay? But on the other hand, when I think about it, TFLers that would choose to go their own way to become Mgtow, how could you blame them? For real, how could you really blame them? After all, they've been rejected and pushed off the ladder over and over for years. What, do they need to just keep sticking around and keep being beat down? And then to get in a relationship in today's society, because they haven't experienced it, they don't understand that people like Mike the Mgtow monk, when in doubt, people like myself can tell you it's not cracked up what society's making it to be. You get with a woman who treats you lower than dirt and dumps all over you, you can understand real quick when your happiness is gone because you're living misery. Because you can live a life of hell being with a female in today's society. Now, I'm not saying a woman couldn't live a life of hell with being with a man neither, because today's society is literally that messed up that the actual war on the genders, men are the targets. It doesn't matter what society says, men are the targets. You know, that's the reason I told you the primary victim of the war on the genders is men, not women. Women are secondary victims, and women are the ones that instigate the majority of all divorces. Women are the one that instigate the majority of domestic violence. And women have tried to step into the man's shoes and they still want all the perks from being a woman. So they stepped into the man's shoes, they want to be in the man's role, but they also want all the same perks they get as a female on top of having all the perks of a male. And I'm sorry to say, but it don't work that way, okay? Never has, never will. And relationships, the majority of them are broken down because nobody knows what they're doing. So I think men going their own way, regardless of what people say, is the way to go. And I think that even incels should be considering going their own way, just like TFLers, I think, would be the right way to go, because until people can reschool themselves or educate themselves to how to treat one another, till people can back up and realize what they're doing, till you can take the word game out of the equation, because another human being's emotions and feelings is not a game to be toyed with or played with. So until people can do that, I think men going their own way is the answer. You know, and it really is. If you can honestly just go your own way, and I got nothing against men going their own way that choose not to get married, that maybe choose not to be with a woman, or maybe they're choosing just to do a hookup if they're able and get laid. Now, we know incel and TFLers ain't going to, because women have made that pretty well clear with the 80-20 rule, which anymore is probably more like 90-10 or 95-5, because it's gotten worse. But that's real. That's legit. That's really going on. You have a high number of men that can't get a woman for the life of them, and they'll do anything and everything society's told them. And these women will reject them and be dead serious about it in 1 to 5 seconds. And because they don't have experience with the female gender, because they've been denied that by the female gender, thanks to social engineering, okay? How can I blame a guy that's TFL or incel that chooses to go Mgtow? At least they're getting themselves out of the stress of the hurt of rejection. And they're not really losing out on anything anyhow, because what are you losing out on? Your chance to be abused? Your chance to maybe be accused of false rape? Your chance to have her use the family court system and strip everything away from you? And if you get children with her, then she's going to get her child support and, alimony, the privilege to collect money from you just because of her gender. And it's very toxic, because you're going to spend all these years paying, and then she's going to turn around and use the kids as a weapon against you, not allow you to see your kids, and that becomes a civil matter. And you can call the police, and they won't let you see the kids because it's civil. So therefore, you'll have to go to the courthouse in your local area, and you'll have to pay them money to bring her in front of the judge to say she's not letting me see the kids. He's going to scold her a little bit, slap her in the hand, or send her home. She's going to allow you to see your kids once or twice, and then repeat herself and not allow you to see the kids. It happens all the time. I watched my cousin, his first 2 women he was with, used him. He got married to. They used him good, man, and when they were all through, they took everything he had. Pretty much. They burned him to the ground. And he went around a few years later and got another woman. A few years later, she repeated what the first one did and burned him to the ground. And you ain't going to get burned to the ground if you go Mgtow. You can be your own man. You can go your own way, and for TFLers and incels, I can understand what's a hard dilemma, because you only wanted what's natural, but you've been denied what's natural. Okay, so I totally understand that. So, it's one of these situations. Yes, Steve, I see ya. And feel free to call me, you know. I wanted to do a quick live stream here, and then I wanted to give a shout out, of course, to Mike the Mgtow Monk. After talking to you last night, even after the live stream dropped out on you, I gained new respect for you, and I'm going to stand with you, okay? And I'm going to stand with When in Doubt, and it's Project Mayhem, and I know people saying it's from the movie and it's whatever, but I'll tell you what, there's nobody else doing anything on the manosphere outside of Mr. Hulk and myself. And Steve Hulk, just like myself, would love to see the division stopped and the manosphere come together. You know, and Steve has a lot of great ideas with his counseling. You know, and if Steve can counsel TFLers or even incels and give them coping skills to deal with their issues that'll help them in their life, that's what this is about. It's about helping people. That's what this has always been about, is about helping men. Because society sure ain't helping men. They're smashing men down on every turn of a corner. Turn on your say TV set and get male bashed. And it just goes on and on and on and on. Okay, hold on a second. I gotta take this phone call. Hello. Yes. What's that? Yes. Okay, can we do that tomorrow? I'm in the middle of a live stream. Okay, thanks. Yep. Who would know that the heart clinic would call me on a Sunday? But okay. Anyhow, that's the reason I took that call. That was a phone call I had to take. But get my sense back to where I was at. Steve really means well, and Steve's got a great idea with his counseling. Give him time. The coping skills is something's counseling that I think that TFLers and Incel alike. If you can get something out of it, anything else, it's about helping you, because that's what this has always been about. You know, and going Mgtow, I think, is, if I talk about TFLers or Incels and I say that I could understand why they would choose to go Mgtow, I agree with them. Because you need to lift the stress off your shoulders to begin with, okay? Yes, you could hear the lady cough. Yes, I'm sure you do. You hear a cough in the background. Her cough is slowly getting better. There's not much I'm going to do about that. You know, I find it funny in a way, because I've always told people that she was sitting next to me when I made my videos, when I do my live streams. You know, when I first told other guys that I do TFL videos, I'll talk about Mgtow, and I talk about all these topics with a woman sitting right next to me, I know a lot of you thought I was lying when I wasn't. Okay? Never have been. She's sitting next to me now. She hears what I'm saying. Okay? As you probably heard her coughing. The cough is slowly getting better. She's got herself a severe cold. She had this a couple years ago, too. Took, you know, and a severe cold, I hate them. I hate them with a passion. They like to kick in the evening hours. They like to make you cough your butt off. And some people want to say, well, if you quit smoking, you know, blah, blah, blah. But I'll tell you what. My mom didn't smoke. She was a non-smoker. My dad didn't smoke. And I got other family members that were non-smokers. And when they got a severe cold, and she's a non-smoker, and they didn't have one around when anybody smoked, they coughed every bit as hard as she did. So that's just propaganda. That's BS to say that, oh, no, it's because you're just making assumptions to slam people. And I don't come up here and I'm not going to come up here and slam anybody. It's not about slamming people. When I talked about Hell by the Dashboard Light, I understand the guy's anger. I just think his anger is misplaced. because his anger is misplaced, okay? He's not helping his own problem. He don't need enemies. He's his own worst enemy himself, and he don't even see it. It's just like a self-produced TFLer. They're their own enemy, and they don't even see it. And it's the reality is a person could be their own enemy and not even know they are. Social engineering, is the biggest cause behind all of this, but people don't want to understand it. They want to think that's not true when that is true. Because, see, TFL is not an accident, and I've said this over and over, and I'll repeat it because it's true. But I think that Mgtow, men going their own way, is the answer. I've always said that, and people take it seriously. That is the answer. And I know it's a tough pill because I don't like to tell TFLers that to go your own way because their desire is to have a mate, their best friend in their life, a woman, and have a family, and, the normal thing, right? What should be norm. But in a toxic world, that's social engineering for years and years, that's not an accident. That's the reason, you slam a TFL or an incel, well, they can't get a woman, I just listened to a female talking about Mgtow, and she said a lot of good stuff and understood it, but she lacks the common sense to understand incel or TFL. She wants to think they're just all losers that can't get a woman. But she's not understanding it's not because they're losers that can't get a woman, that it's been socially engineered and it's women doing the rejection. It's women who do the picking and it's women that are rejecting them. The true TFLer, they went out there and done everything they were told. They took advice from their friends. Some of these guys even spent a lot of money in the phony baloney pickup artist industry. And now reports are coming out showing that you have 30% of the male population that can't even get a date in the millennium? Well, of course they can't get a date. They're being rejected. Then you have guys that do get dates, just like Mike the Mgtow monk. But he also sees how toxic it is, and he don't want anything to do with getting married or being part of that. Just like when in doubt, he's got 2 kids. So it ain't that, and people, I get a kick out of this. People tell me because I have somebody in my life, I'm not TFL. Well, that's because they don't understand TFL. Okay, they really don't. See, at one time I lived TFL. What do you think? I just accidentally come up with the name? No, it was no accident that I come up with the name. I know exactly what these guys are going through. And I know what you're going through. I'm the one that gave you the name to begin with. I didn't create the problem, but I gave you the name. I've been on here like Steve Hoker longer than the majority of the people that are here right now. And so for the people that are true force loneliness or incel, I've been around longer than the majority of you. There's a few people still around that's been around since I came online. Like Dave. And then there's Mitchell. And that's just what it is, okay? And I'm not going to sugarcoat nothing for nobody. Because it is what it is. And as far as last night goes, I'm going to tell you how this plays out. I did the live stream. It was an extremely long live stream, okay? And towards the end of the live stream, I broke the ice and let people know that I most likely had a heart attack last night. Now, I know people heard this, and I know that's what happened to me. And I didn't even know if I was going to wake up this morning, if I'd make it into today, but I did. And I'm thankful for that, okay? And people say, why didn't you just run to the hospital? Well, I'll tell you what, if I have the same thing that happened yesterday night around 8:30, 8:35, it was in around that area is when this happened to me. Okay? If I have this happen again, I will go to the hospital. You say, but I should have went yesterday. But now I'm going to tell you, I have an issue coming up that I know is a symptom. It's with my heart. Okay, but I get a rapid heartbeat in my chest, and that did not happen last night. What you don't understand is back in 2015, I had a heart attack, and I had quadruple bypass surgery done to my heart. And I have a heart doctor and I have a surgeon who both told me the same thing. I have a bunch of little veins with blockages that they cannot fix. And as these little veins block off, I will have a heart attack. I was told this. And there is nothing they can do for it. And I felt my chest during this time, and I didn't have the rapid heartbeat, so I do believe that's what was going on. But I got another issue with chest pain. I was told I'd have that off and on for the rest of my life, too. By the surgeon and by the heart doctor. And last night, it went to the extremes about 8:30, 8:35. The chest pain got pretty damn severe, and I had my left arm throbbing at the same time, and I've never had that happen. So, yeah, I do believe it was a heart attack, and if I have anything like that again, I'm going straight to the hospital. But I did not want to miss out on the live stream last night. My devotion the entire time has always been to help other people. My whole life I've set out to help other people, and this is what I do. This is where my passion's at, is helping other people. And I'm not discriminatory because I care about everybody across the board, men and women and children. But when I see what's going on in society, I have to stand with men going their own way. And I'm glad and I appreciate When in Doubt is in this chat right now. And my shout out goes to him. I highly appreciate him coming up on that live stream last night. I think even with the controversy at first, I think by the end of the show, that's a good eye opener for a lot of men. I really do. And I think we made a crack in the ice last night when it comes to the division amongst men. And that is my feeling, and I'm telling this to When in Doubt. I think we made a crack in the ice last night, and now I want to trump forward and shatter that ice and bring the manosphere together. Okay, that is my goal, is to bring the men together. To stop all of this childish behavior and this nonsense. And the infighting and the cutting each other down and the calling names. You know, and when it comes to men going their own way, this is where I'm going to start pushing, is for men to go their own way. TFLers, you don't have to worry about if you're denial and you decided to go your own way, because I'll tell you what, that's probably the smartest thing you could do. For your own sanity, to remove the stress and the chip off your shoulder, if you can find the mindset to go your own way, and then you could practice working on yourself and maybe listen to a little bit of what When in Doubt tells you and the advice I give you, and if Steve Holcomb comes up here and starts doing some TFL counseling or counseling of incels to give you coping skills, this is where you got to work on your inner self to find your own happiness, because you're not going to remove the stress off your shoulders unless you can find happiness. And in today's society, you're not going to get it from being with a female. And you first need to be happy for yourself regardless. This is where I totally understand exactly what When in Doubt has said, and I totally stand by him. As far as this Project Mayhem, it's the same thing I told Steve. There's nobody else doing anything outside of you and I. These men have a good idea. back off and let them have their idea. If they can make a go out of it, awesome, great, freaking fantastic. Because there's nobody else doing anything. The rest of society is doing what? Throwing you under the bus, bashing you down, smashing you down. You know that if you're a man, you can't even turn on a TV without male shaming. So that's where that comes from. So I'm going to stick with you go your own way, okay? And to Mgtow Monk, Mike the Mgtow Monk, a shout out to him as well. I found new respect for the man last night, and I'm proud of that, and I want to definitely talk to the man again. Okay? This is what needs to happen. Do you see what I said when I said the ice has finally been broken or cracked? Having when in doubt, Mike the Mgtow Monk, seeing and recognizing TFL, Incel, recognizing men's issues, and not slamming them and calling them names and making fun of them and wanting to help them and recognizing the issue. This has been needing to happen for a long time. You know, I've been speaking about this for years, and so has Steve Hoka. You know, if you want to go to the crux of it, I'm the guy that gave you TFL the name anyhow, not the problem. And me and Steve Hoka's outlasted everybody, and we're still here. I mean, we are the people. We are the people that have given you this name, and we've always wanted to help, and that's what it's all about, is helping. And I'm not against women, because I'll tell you what, there's good women out there, and there's good men out here. And anybody that thinks there ain't no good women out here, you're seriously wrong, because there is. It's just unfortunately we're surrounded by so much corruption. Finding the good is like finding the needle in a haystack. And it's sad to say that, but it is the truth, okay? I'm not up here to sugarcoat nothing, and I'm not going to sugarcoat a damn thing for anybody. Because this is about what's being real. It's about the truth. And I have respect for these two guys that was on that show last night with Steve and me. And I want to help these two men, and I want to see... I would love to see Mgtow start joining TFL and TFL start working with Mgtow. And I would love to see Incel the same way. I want to see the entire manosphere go this way. Because we have to understand the common denominators. We're all going through a lot of the same issues. And you ain't going to sit there and slam me because I have a woman in my life and tell me I'm not TFL because I've lived TFL. I understand what you're going through. I know what you're going through. And I'm still here speaking out to help you. Just like Steve Hoke is. Just like when in doubt. He wants to help you. And he's not TFL. Mike the Mgtow Monk. He's not TFL. See, there's lots of men that ain't necessarily TFL, and there's lots of Mgtowers that have went TFL. And I don't care if you're TFL that went Mgtow because I see it this way. That's probably the best thing you could do. For the TFLer that's not willing to go Mgtow, you're only keeping yourself hurting. That's all you're doing. If you can go Mgtow, at least you're walking away from what's been... Because it is abuse onto you, even though you ain't been with her. Because you've been denied, which you should have never been denied from the beginning. But then if you hadn't been denied it, you'd probably be like Mike the Mgtow Monk right now. Or you'd be like myself. You would understand how hard it is to be in a relationship and have it be successful. Because always somebody wants to control somebody. This is the society we live in. Other people want to think they're other people's bosses, or they want to dictate what somebody else is supposed to do, feel, or think. And it's a bad mistake that people are making because nobody wants to be dictated and told what to do. But everybody wants to jump on board and start telling somebody else what to do. It's no different than what we see online. I mean, even in the chat last night, when you watched the chat that was going off, the hurling of insults, the stuff they were getting angry, and it seemed like the more that Mike the Mgtow Monk and When in Doubt and me and Steve Hoka started coming to the conclusion where the understanding between all of us was happening, the angrier the chat session was getting by certain people. Because these certain people wanted to see the fighting. They wanted that division. They wanted that fighting. And when suddenly we was getting along, they got mad. Well, I'm glad they got mad because we need to start getting along. That's exactly what needs to happen. The manosphere needs to learn how to start getting along. You know? And that's really where it comes from, because if we can get along and we can move Mgtow away, and then if you want to join When in Doubt over there with this Project Mayhem, I know there's people saying it's out of a movie and it's this and it's that and it's this and it's that. Okay, but I'll tell you what, they're still doing more than anybody else is doing. You know what it was like for the longest time? It was me or Steve Hoka, me or Steve Hoka. And occasionally you get people come along and make videos, but you really didn't have too many people willing to jump in there and try to help other people. And I've been trying to bring the manosphere together for a long time. Hell, I was attacked. I've been attacked by Men Going Their Own Way. I've been attacked by MRA before Men Going Their Own Way was here. Incels. The division has been here as long as I've been here. And I've always wanted to make it go away. That's why I said last night's live stream, I think, between When in Doubt, Mike, and Steve and myself, I think we made a crack in the ice last night, guys. Now if we can shatter the ice and bring the manosphere together, we will be doing what we need to be doing. And it's what needs to happen. And this has been a long time coming. So since it's been a long time coming, I wanted to come up here and I wanted to say what I feel. And I wanted to tell Mike the Mgtow Monk and When in Doubt, thank you so much for being on that stream with Steve and I. And I want to tell Jeff Ashton thank you. Because I realize you're the one that originally come up with the idea of just somebody preferred to do it with me. That's all right, because Jeff, you mean well. You really do. And I like Jeff Ashton. I think he's a good man, and he means well. He, like everybody else, is trying to help. So, yeah, I think that's important. So I want to acknowledge Jeff there. I don't want Jeff to think he's left out of this, okay? Because he's not. Because it was Jeff's idea to bring Steve and When in Doubt and Mike Mgtow Monk together. It's me that made it materialize, because it's me that called and talked to Steve. And it's Steve's willingness to work with me, and him and I have been here this whole time, man. I'm telling you. Anybody want to criticize Steve, you're criticizing me. And I'll just tell you that straight up. And if you criticize me, you're criticizing Steve. Because you wouldn't have these communities if we wasn't working together all these years to begin with. Just like with men's right activists, if it wasn't for them, you wouldn't have Mgtow. So, it is other men's doings to try to reach out and help people. And we're to a point where the division has never stopped, that we need to make it stop. And for the people that are serious about this, I think you know what I'm saying. It needs to come to a stop. The manosphere needs to come together, and I don't care what name you're flying under. Okay? You pick the name that makes you happy and understand the common denominator. We're all going through a lot of the very same issues. Stop slamming other men. Stop using another man's looks against him. Stop looking for ways to slam another man and realize You're no better than he is. And for you people who want to go by looks, you just need to get over it. Because there's nobody on the face of this earth that's going to keep their damn looks. Looks is an artificial cover that nobody keeps. True beauty comes from the inside, guys. It comes from your ability to understand and work and be a good person in society. Treat others the way you want to be treated yourself. And I'll give when in doubt that because that man presents himself in a good light when he's trying to talk with other people or get to know other people. As far as going out in society and hitting the streets and doing what you got to do, and if somebody's going to buck you because they don't want to see what we're doing, then buck them back. Give them friction. Stand up for what's right. Because men need to come together. And Mgtow needs to just get bigger, and it needs to be filled with TFLers and incels. And, you know, if we could change incel to wincel and give them the right attitude, wincel. And if we can get TFLers to get coping skills and to go Mgtow and never forget and don't be ashamed because you're TFL because you didn't ask for this. You didn't ask to be rejected over and over and over again. You didn't ask for this. If you went out there and done everything possible and you've taken everybody's advice and you've worked on yourself and done everything possible and you're still being rejected, it's not your fault. It is social engineering society, and it's the women that's doing the rejection. So when women come up and say, well, these guys, these incels, they're losers. No, TFLers and incels ain't losers. Because it's you women who created them. So maybe you better rethink about that. Maybe it's you women that are the losers. You women who want to say that about incels and TFLers, maybe did you ever look in the mirror so you can see who the real loser was? Because I think you women who do that, if you go look in the mirror, you'll get to see what a loser looks like. This judging other human beings by their looks and shitting all over them is just ridiculous. Especially when none of you are going to keep your damn looks to begin with. Don't believe me? Go visit a nursing home. And why don't you talk to these residents and have them show you the pictures of when they were in their 20s and 30s? You might get a surprise. And don't think it's not going to catch you because age catches everybody. Age does not discriminate. You're going to get older every year. And before you know it, the year's going to go by quicker. Yeah, well, that's all right, Steve. We got ourselves a troll in here. And you know what I do with trolls, right? Y'all do know that, right? Yep. We just removed them. Okay, this is how I handle trolls. Because I don't put up with the BS, you know. So that person's been removed. They're no longer here, and that's how it works. I don't have to acknowledge what they just typed because they just kicked their own self out. That's all they did. You know. They just got their own selves evicted. That's how that works. And they don't affect me any. You can call me all the names you want. No matter of fact, if you're trolling, you got your other sock account, go ahead and get that sock account and use it right up. That way I can take you out then too. Because pretty soon you'll run out of sock accounts. And I like it when you run out of sock accounts because you're going to go through a lot of work to make another account that I can just take out in 1, 2, 3, you're gone, you know. Hello, Steve. Hey, I'm about to end this live stream. And then I'm going to jump on Zoom if you want to talk, okay, Steve? Just so you know. But I'm about to jump off here. I said what I wanted to say. So my suggestion for people, yeah. Definitely, Mgtow, men going their own way would be the answer for a lot of guys. And listen to Steve, man, TFLers. I mean, Steve's got some really good ideas, and I think you really need to listen to him. Steve and I have been around the block a few times. We've been here just a little bit longer than the majority of you, and we're still here. You can attack us if you want, but we ain't going nowhere. Steve's had lots of attacks over the years, so am I. And guess what? Newsflash, we're still here. So, Oh, is that a hi, I'm back? Okay, I don't mind you being back until you run your mouth the wrong way. Then it'll be a hi, you're gone. But that's all right. You can do whatever you want to do because, see, I'm gone anyhow because I was just ending the live stream. I didn't plan on being up here like I did last night. But I'll be back. But with that being said, shout out to Steve there and shout out to Mike the Big Toe Monk and When in Doubt and Jeff Ashton. And I appreciate y'all being here, and I'm out of here.